Hello, everyone, and welcome to Date My Friends with your host, me, Taylor P. Miller. Today is a very exciting day. We actually have one of my coworkers from the preschool that I work at. So every day in the staff lounge, me and this lady just sit in the staff lounge and we talk about our dates and we compare our men to each other. And I thought, you know what? Let's stream this conversation. So everyone, please welcome my guest today, Luna Falk. Welcome to Date My Friends.
It's a pleasure.
I'm so excited to have you on. I feel like whenever you and I start talking about dating, everyone slowly takes out their headphones and starts listening to us in the staff lounge.
Yeah, maybe that's the case.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a narcissist, so that's how it looks in my mind, that every time we start speaking, everyone's like, whoa. They have such good stories.
Well, I think you tell the stories. I may just lend the wisdom from all of my years.
No, you have such good stories. And you do have good wisdom. I take everything you say really seriously.
With age comes wisdom. That's what they say, right?
Yes.
That's what they say.
So I always ask every guest on here to just start by telling me a little bit about your dating journey. You can start as far back as you want. You can talk about the last few weeks. You are a divorcee.
I am.
So if you want to just tell us a little bit about your dating. I know you're on the apps. I know you're out and about.
Not so active on the apps.
Okay.
The apps, I don't think they're so different in my demographic than they are in the 30-something demographic.
Which was sad to hear.
It is sad
When you
to
told
hear.
me you got ghosted, I really thought...
Continuously, conversations happen, and you really think that you
would think men grow up, but I
so.
have learned from you is that they do not.
No, and I also think, the apps perhaps are becoming a thing of the past, I would like to think, because I think when they first started, there were some reputable people. But I think there's a lot of scammers at all ages. And, if you meet somebody wonderful and you do choose to go out with them on a Tuesday, they may have another date on Wednesday and Thursday, and Tuesday is forgotten. So I do think
that.
it's you do that. I think it's the luck of the draw. I'm not so active on the apps at this point because I'm a little discouraged. I think in the dating world, I'd much prefer someone to say, hey, I know somebody that would be great for you. Or
you reach for the Brussels sprouts at Trader Joe's and your hands touch.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? I think that is kind of like a romance novel. I don't know if it happens so often.
We also always bond over romance novels, although I read way cheesier novels than you do.
Yeah.
But I'm putting you onto some cheesy ones.
Yeah, you've given me some good books to read, but I find that sometimes I would rather stay home and read than even put myself out there. But, I think referrals are the way to go. There's a lot of attractive grandfathers that drop their children off at school, right?
Don't I know?
But they all seem to have wives,
For now.
For now, but
you had a husband.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna,
You're not
be
gonna
a
pray
homewrecker.
You're not gonna pray for the demise.
I'm when they do walk by, I try to look cute. It's like, oh, good morning. My best teacher, good morning greeting.
Yeah.
But I think that, there is someone out there. I think there's a lid for every pot, there has to be. But, it's finding that lid. And I think this city definitely works against us.
Yeah. Can you talk about how, you met your husband at a different time?
I did.
So can you kind of compare dating then? And then you're in this marriage. You have 3 kids, right?
3 adult children, yes.
3 adult children, 2 are married.
One is married, one is soon to be married.
Okay.
Engaged, other one very single.
Okay. Well, so maybe we got to get him, right?
Yeah.
Him on the podcast.
Maybe. I think he
We should have done a mother-son episode. Missed opportunity.
I think he would like to. He's really a character.
Okay. He's a magician, right?
He's a magician, yeah. He would probably do a magic trick for you.
That would be cool.
He's got a big personality. I don't know where he gets that from. He very gesticulates a lot, talks with his hands. I don't quite understand it.
Yeah. So, dating then, finding your husband, and then getting divorced in a different time when there is all these new ways to date. And what's the difference of then and now?
Well, I think you're 20-something, you're really cute, you're really confident.
You still are really cute
but
and
I
really
was
confident.
really cute.
Which, not hard to imagine. First of all, your daughter's a smoke show.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
Second of all, you're a smoke show.
You're kind.
No, and I'm not just saying that. You can ask my teacher friend, Haley. I tell her all the time,
Yeah.
Luna's so beautiful.
I know you always say I should go on The Bachelorette.
I say every day, you need to be on The Golden Bachelor. You need to be.
Well, I think in the era of The Golden Bachelorette that's airing right now, her guys look pretty decent men. I feel like. Well,
And the women are beautiful, too.
beautiful. But I'm thinking, maybe I should be sliding into their DMs. Isn't that what you do,
Yeah.
after they get voted out?
That's going to be our project the rest of the week. Let's
You
slide
think?
into all their DMs.
Slide into their DMs.
Yeah.
But I think when you're dating in your 20s, I got married at 28,
Okay.
you're in a different mindset, I think. And then when the marriage broke up after 23 years and got into a dysfunctional relationship after that for a few years because, at that point you're kind of feeling like, all right, I've been married now. Let's see what's out there. Mm-hmm. And that kind of proved to be a dysfunctional period of time. And then I kind of just started randomly dating here and there. And I think I met some decent guys, but a lot of times I would go out once or twice and they were all about me. Let's travel, let's do things together. And then all of a sudden you don't hear from them, or something like, I'm single, I live alone, and then all of a sudden a text comes through, can you pick up milk? That's happened. That definitely
Multiple
happened.
times that's happened?
Well, similar things, like I live here, I live alone, and then they really don't live alone. So I think, there are.
That's tea.
I don't think all men are dishonest. I do think there are a lot of predators.
But all dishonest people are men.
You think? Nah, I think there's some.
No.
Some women that play
Girls
the
lie
system
too.
as well.
Girls lie too.
Yes, there are. I mean, it's out there. It's really.
Do you feel that your second time around dating, you're more confident? Do you feel that you kind of grew into yourself? Because you talked about you're in a different mindset dating in your 20s. I'm only 30, and I already feel like dating at 30 versus dating at 22, I know what I want. I was just talking to a friend that it's like, now I'm looking for someone I like before I was looking for someone who liked me.
Well,
and I think that that's the biggest difference. So did you feel that the first time versus the second time?
I think, I was so hell-bent on attraction. I have to feel this incredible attraction to be with somebody. And I think as I evolve, I really want to be with somebody who could that we could connect, we could talk, we could laugh together, we could, the physical stuff comes later at this stage of my life. Right now I want to, do we have anything in common, before we take it to another level? And I think it's really
I hope I learn that one day.
I think as far as the confidence level, it does go down because, I'm not as confident as I was. I'm not, do I want to go to the beach and put on a bikini with some strange man? Or no, I don't. It's like fall in love with me first, and then you'll love all my flaws. But I think that having good friends, male friends, is where I'm at right now. To have somebody to go to dinner with, or be my plus one if I need a wedding date, and I have some people like that in my life, which are good. And I love my women friends. I think it's all about, as you grow older, to have.
You have a lot of friends.
I have women friends that
I always see you posting on boats. You're like out and about all the time.
I have some quality people in my life, and I have some quality children, and I feel really blessed.
Good.
I feel really blessed. So is Mr. Right in my life? Not right now. If anybody knows, has a father who is looking for somebody.
That's what this podcast is all about,
I'm open
Fix
to.
Luna up with your hot dad.
I'm open to or granddad, one of the
Her
other.
granddad for the Gen Zers out there.
For the Gen
if we have any
Zers.
Gen Alphas listening.
But, that's where it definitely changes. I mean, we're different people in our 20s. In our 30s, we're different people. 40s. And then I'm in my 60s, and I'm definitely in a different place than I was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But, every day's a gift, and I feel very fortunate in a lot of ways.
Can you talk a little bit about who you've been meeting in the dating scene? You were just telling me
Oh, yeah. Well,
some
for a
interesting
while there,
things.
for a while there, when I was more active in the dating scene, I kept on meeting these men who were telling me they were widowers. I mean, it was consistent. If I talked to 10 men...
Which in your 60s, that is young to be.
But this was even happening in my late 50s. You know, it was like, it was so consistent, it was concerning to me. And then I realized this must be some kind of, ploy. Like,
you think they were lying?
I think they were all lying. Because
because they don't want you to know about their crazy ex.
Either the crazy ex, or maybe feel sorry for me. I lost my wife to a terrible illness or an accident.
A widower is hot, no ex.
But I didn't believe them when there were so many. Out of 10 hits, there were 8 that were widowers. And I kept on saying to my friends, could this be?
That's a crazy lie.
It was a weird lie. And then they always had a child in boarding school. And at the same time, it was like, you have a child in boarding school. So that means he wasn't bogged down with a wife or with children. So a couple of times.
I mean, if it's true, it's great.
I didn't.
Although, I don't know. I feel like pros and cons to a widower. Obviously I'm dating no widowers, but I'm putting myself in your shoes. No ex, pro, but also it's like they have this perfect angel ex in a way that it's like, how can you ever live up to the love of their life? It's not like they played it out and they started fighting and they grew out of love with their person, They died in a pristine image in their mind, and then you're competing with an angel. Right. I don't know if I would want that.
It's a hard role to play, but people should have a second chance at love.
Totally.
And if that's the case, I'm not opposed. Like if you met somebody and through a friend that they lost their wife, I wouldn't be opposed. In fact, I was told by friends, like, I know somebody whose wife is dying. Give it a few months, because these men want a partner again. And then I would get a call.
Do any of your friends pick someone like, hey, honey, when I die, this is who I want you to go out with?
No. I have a very good couple friend that I spend a lot of time with, and we always call ourselves a throuple, but without throuple benefits. But I think it's, couples need somebody to come in because it gets kind of, you talk to each other all the time. Why not get a third person? And of course, he's such a lovely man. He loves to make his wife happy, and his wife's happy when she hangs with her girlfriend. So I spend a lot of time. And for a while there, other people were very, concerned. Like, why is Luna always hanging with you guys? I mean, and really, nothing was.
There were throuple rumors.
There was throuple thoughts, and that really wasn't the case. I really love her husband, but not that way,
Not yet.
Not that way. No, he's a lovely man. She's my bestie, and
no, I've been a part of throuples, mental throuples, not physical throuples.
Nice. It's like, let's take Luna out to dinner. Okay, Luna likes to go out to dinner.
It's annoying when they fight, though.
Yeah, this couple doesn't fight too much.
Oh, okay.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Well,
I travel
like an
with
ideal
them.
situation.
It's really a good situation.
Are you on good terms with your ex?
I am. We're very amicable. And
do you go to family functions?
We do. We just all had dinner together the other night.
Oh, that's so nice.
He lives very close, and I made some matzo ball soup and gave him some matzo ball soup this week. So,
I love that.
So, yeah, I mean, he was a really nice man. It's just like sometimes you are married to somebody and you grow apart because, again, we women change. It wasn't him. It was, we women change. We're different people than we were. And that's what happens. And
I think divorce can be really healthy. I think too many people stay in it for kind of no reason.
And they end up
especially
being
your
miserable.
kids were out of the house by the time you guys got divorced, right?
My daughter was probably in 8th grade or 7th or 8th grade when it happened. And yeah, I think it's hard on them no matter what age, but it was always important to keep it friendly. I mean, I care about him. He's more like my brother, I would say now. But all in all, it has worked out okay. He lives close to me.
Good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
especially with the wedding coming up.
With the wedding coming up. I just had a wedding with him. It's like, all right. And I hung with him. We were at a hotel. It's like, all right, let's drive to the rehearsal dinner together.
Oh,
let's
that's
drive
nice.
So
I'm sure your kids really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's kind of good.
Okay, so you were telling me at school recently that you got ghosted by your neighbor?
Yeah.
That was so disappointing to hear.
I was dating somebody that I met during COVID, and it was a fix-up. And, we took a couple walks together, and that was 2020. And I said something. He said something about kissing me, and I said, if you're kissing me, you can't be kissing anybody else,
which is
because
normal
it was
COVID rules,
right? And then all of a sudden, we didn't take the walk. I mean, he had to go, and then I didn't hear from him. And a year later, we got in touch with one another again, and he said, well, you gave me an ultimatum. I said, people were dying. It's like I couldn't be kissing you if you were kissing anybody else. So,
I went on a walk date with someone in COVID, and he wanted a kiss with masks on, like through the mask.
I mean, we didn't know what was happening. We just kept on hearing all this catastrophic stuff. So I was like, I can't do this. So, but, we've dated on and off, and it feels like it's going well, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from him. But I never really invested my heart because that kept on happening, and now we're just very good friends.
You are?
Yes, we are very good friends.
Okay, that's new since we talked.
Yes. I just.
Does he have any hot friends to set you up with?
He actually tried to set me up with a friend of his that we all had dinner together once, and I told him there was a conflict of interest. I don't need to go out with any of his friends.
Okay, that's fair.
I've
gone on a Hinge date or a Bumble date with someone before, more than once, and I did this 2 times and it went terribly both times. So I think I'm going to retire this move. But I've gone out with a guy. I went out with this guy once who was really hot, but very cerebral, PhD student in STEM. Now, I didn't know what he was talking about the whole time. I was just like, you're a great guy, not for me. I'm not smart enough for you. I have a friend who is a high school biology teacher. Shout out Nicole. She's now in a great relationship. But
with him?
No, with a different guy. But after he was like, do you want to go out again? And I'm like, I think you're such a great guy. I actually have a friend that I think you'd really hit it off with. She's so smart, so brainy. I think you guys would have so much to talk about. And he got, I think, just offended.
He got offended. You
and
were
that happened
him
a
off.
different time too, when I was just like, you seem like such a great guy. I actually have someone that I think you'd be great with. And I think it offends people. I think they're just like, well, why don't you want me? And I'm like, just because we went on a Hinge date doesn't mean we're a match, but I think you're cool. Like, you're hot, you're cool. My friend's hot and cool. You guys should go out with each other.
Right.
Right.
Well, it came from a good place. But
yeah.
I think
I can see
it's
how
rejection.
it can be.
They're feeling rejection.
Totally.
And I think when he offered, my friend would like to meet you for coffee. And I said, I kind of felt like he wanted to see what I was going to say. Would I go for the coffee? So it just kind of felt. Besides, I wasn't attracted to his friend. I mean, if I was attracted to his friend, I might have said, well, sure, set it up. But I wasn't.
Yeah. What do you think you're looking for in a partner?
I really think at this stage of my life, I don't want to get married again. Would I like to have a significant other to travel to go to functions with? I really don't know if I would want to live with someone again. I'm really content living alone with my dog. I know you had another gal on here that was all about her dog, and the dog is definitely fulfilling a lot of lonely moments. I really don't feel like I get lonely because I have this companion.
Good.
But I think I would like someone to care about me, to be there for me, and vice versa. I'm a very nurturing
I feel the same
person. And, it would not be nice to have that intimacy, that closeness. That doesn't go away as you get older. You still like to be held and kissed and hugged and cared about.
And more?
And more. Yeah, well, sure.
Do you feel, okay, personal question. We can always cut this out because I know your daughter didn't want to be embarrassed.
No, I'm open.
Okay, so Jenna, cover your ears. But do you feel, do you still like get horny and stuff?
Yeah, of course. I definitely media out there, definitely reading these books can really get arousing.
Ooh, like which book? Give me a spicy rack.
Spicy rack. I have a whole list of them, but of course, do I remember them? I don't remember them.
Give them to me at school tomorrow.
But yeah, that goes through my mind. Like, sure, I would like to have somebody to, give you that feeling, after you kiss them, like, can we do more of this? That still occurs.
But it's not all the time.
It's not all the time, and
that must be nice. You can think about other things.
Other things, definitely, and I have a lot of contemporaries, and it's usually the women's like, I really have had enough of that. You know?
Are guys still horny at your age?
Yeah, they think they are. I don't.
Do they have to like pop pills though
Yeah,
before?
I think there's a lot of pill popping, and I don't really want to go there, but yeah, they think they can function, and they're really not functioning properly.
So they're mentally horny, but not physically.
Yeah, they they think they remember back when they were very active and how good that felt, and how good they felt about themselves and how manly. And I think it definitely wanes a little bit. It kind of they want to continue with that part of their life, but it just doesn't always function that way.
You got to give them one of your spicy books.
I guess spicy books or talk dirty, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds nice though. It's like more wholesome. Well, you really have to get to know your partner.
Yes,
which I think is special.
Yeah, I think it definitely is an evolution. I think one's relationships as you get older. I think it's a cerebral thing as well. And the old adage, men these days, they want a nurse or a purse, I mean, do I want to get involved with a man who's going to be ill and that they're taken care of? Not necessarily.
Well, if he has a lot of money, then it's perfect timing.
That could be a conversation. But that's how I also feel, if I'm going to move in with someone, my life better get sweeter, not necessarily financially. Can my life be made better by being with this person and living with and giving away my independence or my freedom of having my own apartment and nobody to say.
And you were married for 23 years. That's a long time to be living with someone, to be on someone else's schedule. So it probably is nice to have a lot of independence.
But at that time of your life, you're married, you're having babies, you're raising children, you're caught up in a whole different, world than you are when you're, they're all grown up and they're kind of looking like, what can I do for you?
Yeah. That's so nice. Yeah. It's so nice how close you are with your children.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I think we're like that with my parents too, me and my brothers.
Yeah, it's nice. My son calls, and he's the one that just got married, and that was a whole other thing. I welcomed a daughter-in-law into my life, and it's like, well, I was number one, but I'll defer to her before me. But
good. That's a good Jewish mother-in-law.
I don't want.
Not all of them do that.
Not all of them do that. But I vow not to be that kind of mother-in-law. I want him to take care of her and love her and listen to her and support her.
And you like her?
I do like her. She's lovely. She makes my son happy. They're in love.
Is she similar to you? Like, do you think he married his mom? Because I know a lot of Jewish boys do that.
No, I think stature. She's very tall and lean, and I think maybe that way. But no, she's a very strong businesswoman. She's very bright. Not that I wasn't, but I certainly wasn't as driven as her. She's definitely driven, and they seem happy.
That's so good.
Now I can look forward to a grandchild.
Yeah.
Although teaching, I really feel like I have so many babies that I get love from, so I'm in no big hurry to.
I know you're around kids all the time. I feel the same way. I'm like, I get the hugs all day. Kind of gets your. Kind of gives you your fix.
I wasn't doing this job when I got pregnant with my daughter.
I don't know how teachers do it with a kid at home.
I don't know how they do it either. And I really think that I got pregnant with her because my second child was going into kindergarten. I really felt I needed that. Had I been teaching, I probably wouldn't have done it because they fulfill that.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do both at the same time.
Well, hopefully you won't have to.
My teachers that I've talked to, my teacher friends say it's just the hardest while they're the same age as the kids that you teach. When they're 8, 9, it's not, because we teach preschool, if anyone doesn't know. So when they're 8, 9, it's not as big of a deal. But when you're with 2-year-olds all day, and then you got to go home and
you got to do
change
homework.
more diapers and wipe more noses.
But I don't think it's that much easier. You have to go home and you have to prepare dinner for them. You have to do homework with them. You have to parent them after you've been talking all day long.
Did you work while your kids were little?
I did not. I was fortunate enough to stay at home, and I had help at home. And I had a nice house in Beverly Hills. I lived a lovely, lovely life. I mean, I still do, but I have downsized.
Yeah. That does sound like a great life.
It was nice. It was really, I wasn't a real career, oriented person. I wanted to stay home and have babies, and my life allowed that.
Yeah. That's
So,
great. I want to
That's
have a
good.
lot of kids.
You do?
I am career driven. I would like to do both. I hope it's possible, but
Well, when
I
you're
won't
a
have
famous
babies.
comedian with your Netflix
Yeah, I'm only going to be
specials.
working at night. I can stay with the babies all day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you have like red flags, deal breakers? What are your deal breakers with guys? Like if someone's like, I have someone to fix you up with, but blah, blah, blah. What are your buts?
Well, I mean, I'm open to all shapes and sizes. I used to be shallow in that area. But I think if they drink too much, if they're drunks, my last one was an alcoholic, and that was really toxic.
It's so exhausting
It was
when
not
they drink
good.
a lot.
Of course, when you're in the middle of it, you don't, you're not an alcoholic. But in retrospect, when I look back, man, he really was an alcoholic. And of course, you drink more when they're drinking.
Totally.
That and rudeness to, service people.
Have you seen that on first dates?
I've seen that, yeah.
Do you ever check and see what they tipped?
I don't. I don't. I just, people who feel like they're better than people, I think is a real red flag to me. Not being kind.
That's a good one.
think-
I agree.
yeah.
I feel that way. I've never said that as one of my red flags, but that totally.
Yeah, I think I would like to be with a kind person, a gentle soul. I don't need big macho muscles or. I don't mind soft men. I like men who are definitely in touch with their female side.
Soft mentally, you mean?
Soft mentally, vulnerable, and I can definitely go for a man like that. But I also like to feel taken care of. I want somebody to feel safe.
Are you traditional? Like, do you like when they open your car door, open a door for you, give you your
do.
jacket?
I do like that. But I think that I give back in other ways. I think I am pretty stereotypical and traditional, but
I feel like those traditions are making a comeback. Like, I
Yeah.
think they went away for a little bit, and then I think women were like, no, we do want your jacket when we're cold.
right. But I also feel like I could pick up a check sometimes too. Not all the time. If you're making 3 times as much money as me, then of course I'm not going to do it very often. But I think that it should.
Preschool teachers,
We don't make a whole lot of money. And at this stage of my life, what I have to think about tomorrow because one day I won't be able to earn a paycheck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm flexible. I think I'm just looking for somebody who, piques my interest.
I'm noticing a pattern with my guests, and I think it's a really good pattern, is that we're all looking for men to add to our life. Right. And my male guests say the same thing about women. We're all looking for people to add. We want someone, but we are content at the same time.
Right.
And I think that that's just the best mentality to be in. I think when you're looking for someone, when you're under and you're looking for someone to bring you up to zero, like to neutral, that's when it's hard to find someone. That's when you end up with the drunk, someone who's not that nice, because you're just like, you need someone to make you feel good every day.
Right.
If you're already feeling good and you just want someone to make you feel great every day, I think that's when you're in a good mentality.
Is it content with what you have or complacency? Because that's another question. I'm kind of complacent. I mean, I have people that say, come on, Luna, you should go put yourself out there more. Let's go to this event. Let's go. And I try, but sometimes I think staying home with Netflix on, with my
Netflix
dog
and an Abby Jimenez
and
book.
my Kindle. I could really be content doing that as well.
no.
Although I do try to.
Do you think I'm content or complacent? Maybe a little bit of both, depending on the day.
Well, you're a mover and a shaker. I mean, you came here right from work.
That's true.
All I kept thinking is like, I got to go home and then leave again.
Yeah.
So
I think usually I have another thing too,
But at your stage of life, you should be moving around more and putting yourself out there. I would have to say, beware of complacency.
Okay.
Just because it's real easy to settle in there. I know I can be content not leaving my house all weekend long, but I push myself.
Yeah, I feel like you do a lot.
I do push myself to go out. I mean, there are some. This past weekend, I didn't do much. I took myself for a massage. That was good.
Okay.
I treat myself to massages.
Okay, so since you just gave me one pearl of wisdom,
Okay.
and you've been in all these different stages, and I like that you keep saying evolving. I think that's like such a great way to phrase being in different stages of your life. Do you have any pearls of wisdom? You know, a lot of like girls my age, women my age are listening. Do you have pearls of wisdom for us?
Don't settle. I mean, you might have an ex that keeps on coming back into your life, and you think, well, I can't find anybody else, and I want to get married, and I want to have children, and the clock is ticking. Should I just go back to the dysfunctional relationship? There was some good to it, but eventually all that bad's coming back. Don't settle. It's better to be alone, I think, than to be in an unhappy union. And once you get married and bring children and other families into it, it's that much harder to leave. And, you know, a lot of times you settle in because you're there. And that's really unhealthy. Don't do that to yourself, is my advice.
That's really good advice.
I mean, we have a friend who just got out of a relationship, and it's very hard to get out of a relationship when you really
tell
think
people
you're there.
It's like I can never think of the best way to phrase this. Maybe you can help me. But I think when you're in a relationship that's not that happy, I think you have two choices. You can be a little bit unhappy for a long time, or you can break up with them and be really sad and unhappy for 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer, but, you know, not forever, and then be really happy one day.
That's right.
And I think that that's what the breakup is. The breakup is temporary devastation for a lifetime of happiness versus a lifetime of complacency. Because you talk about complacency being single, but I think the whole don't settle is you can get really complacent in a relationship and just be like, you're scared. You're trying to keep that sadness. And breakups are so hard. I mean, they're devastating. So you're trying to keep that at bay. But what you're creating is just this kind of
like, what are you hanging on to?
State.
What are you hanging on to? You know, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel, this little bit feels good. And I mean, I watching my children go through relationships, and then when you're complacent, then one of the people in the relationship is definitely looking elsewhere, you know, and then that heartbreak is even that much bigger when you know somebody has been cheating on you. You know, that hurts even more.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Oh, yeah. Who hasn't, you know? It's really...
That's how my last relationship ended.
But it's hard when you're younger and then you're infatuated with someone. I mean, it's good to be in one relationship like that because then you know what you don't want.
I say that all the time. Everyone should be in one crazy, toxic relationship where you love them so much and they feel like a drug.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's movie love. You don't want to end up with movie love, right? My parents I think they just had their 32nd marriage anniversary. No one would watch a movie about their relationship. It would be so boring. They meet each other. They get married. They have 3 kids. They go to dinner on Saturday nights. They're in love. Who's watching that movie? No, we're watching Ross and Rachel, not Monica and Chandler, you know?
Right.
And so I think it's fun to have that one movie relationship, but you really kind of want a relationship that nobody wants to talk about. I think those are the healthy ones.
I think it's true.
I think my friends in the most healthy relationships are the ones that we talk about their relationship the least. Like, I'll be like, oh, how's so-and-so doing? You know, what's he up to? Or what's she up to? But I'm not like, how are things between you two?
Right.
I think the less there is to chat about over wine, generally the healthier it is.
A mature relation. That's two people who want to be in this relationship. Will they always like each other? No. Sometimes they won't like each other, but there's some solid groundwork there. And I think it's okay not to like your partner or I'm going out with friends tonight because I have to get away from you. You know, I love you, but I have to get away from you. And I think that's normal because I always say we come from 2 different worlds. You know, I was raised differently than you were raised, and coming together, what I think is normal, you might not think is normal. And I think that's why a relationship, you know, we bump heads with our partners until we realize there's a common denominator that you build on.
Yeah. And of course, only share what you feel comfortable with this next question. But how long, like, what was your journey when you were kind of exiting your marriage? Was it slow? Did it take you, like, from the time of your first kind of, I don't know if I want to continue living with this person, to signing the papers? Was that a long journey? Was it a short journey?
Very
you're
short.
On good terms. So.
Very good terms. I think I was married to a very wonderful guy, easygoing. I mean, I definitely was the one that was people thought was cuckoo. I mean, I am a little cuckoo, but
Eccentric.
I have a bigger personality. He was very passive, and I remember buying a book when we were Wild Women, Passive Men, or something like that. He was very passive, and I think my personality brought him out a little bit, and he calmed me down a little bit. And
That sounds like that book I told you to read, Yours Truly. Remember?
Yes, yes.
That's kind of how that couple is.
But I think what happened is, we felt a disconnect, and we attempted couples counseling for a while, and they would say things like, go lie in bed and hold hands and light candles. You don't have to. And it was like, no, we don't want to do that. That wasn't what we were feeling. And then we just drifted further apart, and I was not feeling happy. He was complacent. He was content, I think, with just having the wife and the kids in the house and going to work and coming home. And sometimes it was dinner, sometimes. But I was feeling like, is this all there is? I needed more. And when the subject of separation came up, he said, okay, I guess we need to separate.
I feel like that's how I would react
was like
too.
Really,
you don't want to be with someone
calm.
who's having doubts.
And we went back to the couples counselor, to guide us to get to this decision. And then as we walked, I've told this story a million times, we've walked out to the elevator, and he said, you want to go grab a bite to eat? It was like, and he was out 2 weeks later.
Wow.
So it was pretty simple. It was pretty simple.
That's so lucky.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't adversarial. He was very helpful financially. My daughter was still in high school. So, he could have. I was becoming a bitch. There was no question, because I was unhappy, so I was cranky, and I didn't want to go out with other couples towards the end because I was embarrassed on my behavior, because where he always made corny jokes, I used to laugh at them, and then towards the end I was rolling my eyes. And I think the catalyst for actually making the move was I saw my daughter at 8 years old give him a look like I gave him a look, and I went, oh no, she can't look. I'm modeling something that I don't want her to treat her dad like that.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew that it had to.
This is such an inspiring story, really, because I do think we need to normalize leaving before it's terrible.
Yeah.
Leaving just because it's not right. I think too many people, even when there's no kids involved and no marriage, and they're just 20-somethings, I think people stay because they're like, well, he's not mean to me, and he doesn't hit me, and
right.
But you shouldn't live a life that doesn't feel fulfilling.
Yeah.
You should leave just because you want to, not because.
I think you're
work
not
through
being
it.
Fed. You're not being there.
I'm not saying leave at, he makes one pun that you don't like and leave.
No.
Obviously work through it. And it sounds like you guys went to counseling and tried. And I think that that's, a marriage, especially when you have kids, deserves a try.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I think especially to women my age, when there's no kids involved, it doesn't have to be terrible for you to leave.
It doesn't. And, there were bumps as far as figuring things out. But like I said, he's very easygoing. I mean, sometimes through my marriage, I wanted him to fight with me. It was like, fight with me, and he was like, I'm not going there with you, and it just what I needed, because I wanted to see reaction, and I think that wasn't who he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
which makes him a great ex-husband.
He's a great ex-husband. And really, I wish he would have married again. I think he could have
Does he date?
Again. He's not dating right now, but I think he was in a relationship that was pretty serious, and I think she probably wanted to marry him, and he kind of thought, I'm newly single, what am I going to get married for? But I think he probably should have married her at this stage of his life, because he's gotten older and he could really use a wife. I think he could really use one.
Well, it sounds like he has the best ex-wife that he could hope for.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
All
so
right.
That was our episode.
Well, that was fun.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.